Hello, friends. Welcome to another new gameplay today. I am your host, Alex Stadnik, and I'm honored because I believe this is the first NGT she's doing. Jill Grodt, hello, and I believe I got your last name right this time, right?
You absolutely did.
Let's go. Hello, Jill. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm good. I am excited to talk about Jett the Far Shore.
Yeah, so this is one we've seen a couple of times from, I feel like we saw it at the PlayStation Showcase. I know we saw it at the most recent Gamescom Opening Night Live Showcase. But Jill, I'm here to ask you today, I'm here to be a voice of the people. That's my job. What the heck is this game? What's going on?
So this Jett the Far Shore is a game that asks you to go on sort of this intergalactic mission. You start off in this sort of like sad, but they don't really explain what's going on, but it's a sad situation where your home planet is sort of dying and everyone else is sort of resigned to this. They've gone through all the steps and they're now resigned to ultimately death.
Oh no. A lighthearted game. Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. It's told in this very beautiful way. You can see sort of visually here just how lovely the game is. But it's not that forthcoming as to what's actually happening, which leads to some really amazing sort of visual storytelling elements where you sort of piece together like the technology that's helping you escape the planet might also have been behind what is killing everyone.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah.
So you start off with this sort of horrible sense of survivor's guilt, which makes you want to do better. But at the same time, everybody is looking to you for your mission. This mission is sort of prophesized in the religious background of this game, where there will be a group of like scientists and religious figures going off into this mythical far shore, which is this water planet that you are currently seeing me explore.
Okay. Yeah.
And the idea here is that you will bring with you the sort of bastion of civilization as everyone knows it. So you are continuing on humanity, and the whole world will not snuff out into nothingness. You continue the legacy of your people.
Okay.
So it's this sort of dichotomy of both deep sadness that everyone knows they're sort of fading away into oblivion, but also hope and excitement for your mission.
Wow.
Which all takes place before this particular segment that we're looking at.
Okay.
It is a game that's split into exploration, and that involves a lot of flying around in your jet, which is the jet of the Jett the Far Shore.
Oh, now we're connecting dots, baby. I love it. Yeah.
Let me just line those up for you.
Go. Thank you. Okay. So now that you've got your hands on it, how does it feel to fly around? Because that's primarily what you're going to be doing in this game, correct?
Yeah, it's split into these sort of segments as well as sort of narrative-focused segments that, for those, you're just sort of walking around and talking to people and choosing dialogue options. For the flying missions, in this particular one, you can see we are given a time period to explore this new and alien world that we've just landed on. Our hopes are bright. Our scientific minds are inquiring.
Yes.
So we are flying around in the ship, sort of using our scientific devices to figure out what everything is. So as I am sort of scanning everything around me, you can see it pops up in the top right there, like what the thing is and what it might react to, and what that might mean for us, how that might help us.
Okay. Now, sorry,
Nope.
continue.
No, go right on ahead.
I was going to say, is each encounter that you've experienced so far, is it timed like this time to scout the shores? Is each encounter going to be one where you need to, like, find what you need and get out? Or is it going to be a little bit more leisurely in some other instances?
No, so this seems to be sort of an exception
Okay.
to what happens. The game gets a little more intense as it goes on, but in this early period, you're getting a chance to sort of enjoy the wonder of the world and just explore and see what's going on so that you can tuck that information away for later experiences and encounters that you might have. You have a couple of things that you can see me doing here that you are sort of learning at this point as well. The Jett has 2 kind of speeds, and right now I believe that I've just turned it off, but my scramjets, when they're on, let me go kind of a supersonic speed, and I can surge for a little faster, but it might overheat and break my Jett if I go too hard too often. And the thing that's interesting about this sort of view, the camera angle here, it's pulled away from the Jett, so it's hard to tell, but you do actually hit very high speeds, which luckily it doesn't seem like I'm gonna show any examples of this, but it does put you in a place where you can run into things pretty easily,
for sure,
if you're not paying attention.
And does that trigger a game over screen, or is there like lasting consequences to that?
You do have sort of a health, it's not exactly a bar, but a way of measuring the health of your Jett.
Okay, gotcha.
So you can kind of keep an eye on it. It's pretty rare that you get down to the point. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if I should say that. Maybe I'm just really fantastic at playing Jett the Far Shore. And I didn't see the kind of game over screen, as it were, too often. Okay. I think only a couple of times throughout the entire game.
For sure. Now, they've built this as a game that they really seemed like, and correct me if I'm misunderstanding, but it seems like it's a game that they've encouraging you to not fight, not like get into combat. Is that your experience so far, or like what's that part of this game been like?
Yes, 100%. It is a peaceful exploration. I believe your partner, Isao, not sure how to say the actual name, even talks a little bit about that and is very committed to the idea of exploring a world and not making that world the worse for it. So you are exploring and adapting to the world, but not trying to shoot anything. There is no weaponry on your Jett. The closest you have is this little grapple, which you can use to pick items up that may have vital sort of properties and use them as you might, but you do not in and of yourself have any sort of shooting abilities or fighting abilities. A lot of it is scaring things off or outrunning or outwitting things that might be problematic. And you do see problematic things. There are in this game things called colossi that seems to be a term that the game uses or the characters use for anything that's a large unknown creature. So colossi can take a lot of different forms. Earlier in the game, we had seen one that looked kind of like a giant sea snake serpent monster, which, I didn't want to go toe to toe with, and I'm glad that it didn't come after me.
Fair, very fair. You're a smart person.
but it definitely adds to the sort of wonder of the world, and that there are these giant things and you never know exactly when they're going to pop up. Um, and you might have seen it earlier, and I think this is hilarious. There are tiny creatures too, which I scanned a bit earlier. I believe they call them hoppas.
Okay.
And they're like little tiny gazelle-looking things, and I accidentally like knocked a whole herd of them over and felt so bad.
No. R.I.P. to our gazelle friends. We hardly knew
Yeah.
you. Oh no.
Yeah. I was trying so hard to be peaceful, I promise.
Oh geez. So another aspect of the game that we have seen in the trailers takes place within the ships, and I guess I haven't wrapped my mind around a clear sense of what it actually is. But have you gotten to the point where you're talking with your I almost said coworkers, but like, you know, co-explorers?
So they have, besides just you and your co-pilot talking, and you do have segments where you're in your cockpit talking to your co-pilot, about, you know, things that you would talk about if you had just left your home planet and went off to explore another planet.
Mhm.
And also it's been, I want to say, a couple thousand years.
Oh wow.
Because when you leave your planet, you go into a deep sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and they only awaken you when you arrive at the far shore.
Okay.
So, so you kind of wake up and you're talking about like, wow, this is our new chance, and look how beautiful everything is. But you do eventually get set up in a kind of ground control where you can get out of your jet, get out of your suit, and talk to people around you. There's not a whole bunch there.
Mhm.
You talk to people. There's a lot of exposition about the religious backgrounds and underpinnings of your mission. There are some people who are more scientifically minded, and there is some kind of revolving theme around, you know, belief versus science, and what you can see versus what you can feel. And you do a lot of, like, you have dialogue options, but there's no like branching narratives or anything like that. So it is a lot of just short, brief conversations, and the real meat of the narrative comes through these sort of fantastic story elements, which I can't get too deeply into.
For sure.
But the ground control is just a sort of nice downtime
Yeah.
to rooms.
Definitely. Well, and I think I'd be remiss if I didn't ask the most important question so far, my friend. Are you enjoying it? Is this has been, obviously we're delving into pretty dark themes here, but you know, you can enjoy those dark themes, right? Are you enjoying your experience with it so far in preview?
Me a horrible person to say those dark themes are some of my favorite part of this whole game.
Hey, that's what we got. Cormac McCarthy, we got the road. You know, like people like dark themes. Like it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I do enjoy a lot of these. Like when the game is digging into these themes and trying to provoke hard questions, and looking at, you know, earlier in the game we had seen, and we had already talked about, sort of the implications of the world ending and using the byproduct of what's making the world end to save yourself. And there's some like not as horrific themes as well. Like there is just being able to take every day and being in wonder at the world around you, and serving mankind, or a goal bigger than yourself.
For sure.
I have ups and downs in the game.
Mhm.
I find that there are narrative beats that I'm very excited about and that are very thrilling, I think the gameplay for me is a little bit of a push and pull depending on what you're doing. Just because like the way that the camera is pulled out makes it a little difficult to kind of see what you're doing.
For sure.
And to feel that, like, when I'm in a supersonic ship, I want to like feel that breeze through my hair and the speed and like the things going by. And it is sort of hard when you're in this large landscape without a lot of detail, without a lot of landmarks, to sort of see how fast you're going and to feel that excitement. But there's still a lot of game out there. Maybe they'll surprise me with what's happening. The story is turning in a very interesting way, so we'll have to check that out.
For sure.
I'm also a big fan. I don't know why I'm such a sucker for this, but you can see on the screen I am like interacting with the world, and the world is like interacting back, I guess is the best way. It's sort of like I found a plant that interacts with my light, so I shine a bright light on it and it blooms, and then all the flowers around me start to bloom as well. And it's just like that. It's such a small thing, but it's such a lovely concept.
Yeah, for sure. I'm getting a very there's an interesting dichotomy to just watching this footage, right? Because what I'm looking at is so serene and chill, but also on the backdrop of something very, very heavy. So this has gone from a general curiosity on streams to something I'm looking forward to seeing more from and hearing more of your thoughts on. So
they use that too. They're not playing around with you. Like they lull you into this lovely false sense of security. And you're just like, oh, this is such a nice little trip. And then, it sort of gets into, it's not a horror, but like a horror movie will have in the beginning, like, oh, everything's lovely and great. And and then all of a sudden things are not great.
Yeah. And then your ex-boyfriend's in a bear suit and you're covered in flowers and it's a whole thing. That's
like you do.
Yeah, like you do. Well,
so actually here you can see too that I am being accosted by a very rude Colossus.
Boo Colossus.
Get out of here. And at this point I'm sort of really hoping that I have some way to like shoot it, but
all for naught, unfortunately, it looks like.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, I think that's a good, just like the trailers and teases of E3s and Gamescom's past, I think it's a good place to leave this. When can people get their hands on this?
So they did just announce during Gamescom, they announced that the game will be coming out October the 5th, and it is a PlayStation console exclusive, but you can also get it on PC.
There you go. Maybe a little Steam Deck action in the future. Who knows? Well, this has been lovely. Thank you, Jill. I appreciate your time. Viewers, I appreciate your time. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. You know the damn thing at this point. Plenty of new gameplays today as we're heating up. It's that time of year where the games are coming out and we're getting a lot of great looks at some awesome titles. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.